So, you know me, this JK Ultra situation shook me up. And I probably keep mentioning it because this is how God helps me teach lessons, is through other people. He makes me use people as an example, which I think is so fucking funny. Genuinely. But one thing that I've noticed with her, right, is that this is karma for her because for many, many years she has talked shit about a lot of people. And she has strong opinions on many, many spiritual gurus and people like that. And so, like I said, I've been distancing myself from her for a year. She's always had this kind of really extreme opinion and judgment. And I genuinely thought it was just because she was from New York. So I just thought that was her personality. But I'm realizing now it's wounds, it's insecurity, she wasn't actually 100. That's what I'm saying. Us spiritual people who lead, we don't actually know what we're doing all the time. And that's why you need to find people who are honest about that. I try to really share that with people that I've had doubts about this stuff. I am not 100% sure about this stuff. Some days it's hard for me to believe. Some days it's really easy for me to believe. And again, I keep showing people how the more and more I've rewired and the more I see proof in my reality, this has become even easier for me to believe. I acknowledge that this is being in the spiritual community and believing in aliens and all this stuff. It's hard. It's not an easy thing because we're breaking past limiting beliefs, which is neurologically the antithesis of what our brains require to feel safe. I talk about this all the time. But in order for our brains to feel safe, our internal dialogue needs to match our external reality, and that's exactly what light workers. But that's what I want to say to light workers. You've been dealing with that your entire life. This is not a new challenge for you guys. You guys have always had an internal dialogue of extreme justice, extreme fairness, having a deeper understanding for the way that the world should function. And then we were placed around people who basically function the exact opposite of that because they're younger souls. And in order for us to be able to teach these younger souls and even come down here as light workers, we have to go through their souls. We have to be taught by their souls because the closer you get to the ascension, wake up period, you have to have the older souls closer to that because we would not have made it if we incarnated, at the time that all these young souls who raised us did. And that's why you can see they're all kind of the same because they're all at the same level. And that's something that JK Ultra completely, dismissed. There's no such thing as soul age. I couldn't disagree more. I think that's literally one of the main things that and the thing about these concepts and these psychic downloads that I'm talking about that she completely dismissed is that it helps me humanize people again. So that's how I know it's right. That's how I know it's truth because it's helping me find more compassion for people. It's helping me move from a place of understanding instead of anger or resentment. It's helping me humanize people again that deeply traumatized me, that genuinely I've detached so far from, that I've thought about straight up taking them out of this reality. I've had a very traumatic life with extremely abusive parents, and so it's been hard for me to humanize them. And so what my psychic downloads have been able, even the deletes and everything, it's not I'm sitting here again. The thing about humanization and humanizing somebody doesn't mean that you don't hold them accountable then. And because we don't hold people accountable, when you're talking about forgiveness or you're talking about understanding somebody, people make this deep assumption that you should not do that we shouldn't feel bad for people or that we shouldn't have empathy for people who are bad people. And it's no. Let's not lose touch with our humanity. We can still feel bad for people who hurt us. And in fact, we're supposed to. And in fact, that's our gifts as neurodivergents. And that's why this society sucks so bad for us is because people weren't feeling bad for us. And they weren't noticing us. And they weren't acknowledging our suffering. And they were ignoring our pain. And it's we can't do that. But that's the thing about being the bigger person that I've learned is it's a lesson here. You have to be the bigger person. And when I tell you it is the hardest thing I have ever had to do in my life, and I've done a lot of hard shit. I've been through domestic abusive fucking relationships. I've been through shit with my friend with her domestic abusive relationships. I've had to give up all my friends because of pedophilia. Literally, I've had terrible shit happen in my life. And the hardest thing I've ever had to do is rewire my brain towards humanization and compassion towards people who really deeply abused and harmed me. Or are deeply abusing and harming other people. It's taken me 18 months And it's like, I still am not at a place where I am fully mature, where I'm fully free of matrix programming, where I'm fully free of judgment, where I'm like this person who just, but I do feel like I have a good understanding of what's going on because, again, these beliefs have helped me like be nice to people again, or, and also that has helped my body finally, feel safe because all I was doing was I was like up, and that's what you can see with her. She's like constantly fighting. It's this aggression. It's this defense that you have to put up, and that gets like extremely tiring. Like it's very exhausting to always be in a defensive position, but you're in a defensive position because you've lost trust with God, or yourself, or the universe, or whatever you want to call it. You have to cultivate that back. And the way you do that is by rewiring your brain and healing your trauma and facing your pain and humanizing people who have hurt you. Because at the end of the day, we're all humans too. And that's, again, what JK Ultra was trying to say. She's like, we're all God and there's no bad people. But then she's coming on here and being like, but all these beliefs are completely wrong. But it's like those beliefs that you believe in, that ayahuasca that you took is what got you to the point where you're even able to see people as humans again. So how are you going to throw away the whole thing? Again, it's because of safety and comfort. There's something that she has to protect, her identity. There's a part of her identity that's not being allowed to be expressed freely. And I don't know if it's personal, and I don't know if it's, her partner, but it does seem like her partner has influenced her a lot because that's when her view started to change. So that's just a pattern recognition that I can pick up on. That's why I'm making these assumptions. And also the way she speaks about him is sad to me, like as a person who, had really tough relationships, like you can bet your ass, like my next relationship's going to be like, we're going to like heal our inner children and we're going to have so much fun and we're going to have so much in common and there's going to be, it's not going to be perfect. And like, that's the thing that I'm looking for too, is I'm kind of looking for somebody who's not perfect because I have a bigger platform, or I'm going to at some point in my life. And part of my mission here is to heal with my partner and help like make mistakes with my partner. You know what I'm saying? Like, so we can learn from that and then help people teach, like that's basically what I've done all my life is I've just had to learn from all my mistakes. And that's what you do. You learn from your mistakes. You're supposed to, or listen to people who are trying to call you out on your mistakes. But again, it's really hard because there's not a lot of people who have the authority to do that, but I absolutely know I do. It's part of my spiritual gifts. And actually that's what I'm trying to tell a lot of people on here is that's part of your authority too. That's part of your spiritual gifts. A lot of you have this ability to call people out on their bullshit or see through things or recognize patterns or, try to align them to healthier lives that are going to make them feel better because you've learned through your experiences that doesn't make you feel good or that can actually harm you or you can see that it's harming them. And then you just then people don't listen to you or they really lash out at you or those types of things. And so going back to, partners and making mistakes, it's not even that's why I think they can grow from this situation, her and her partner. I think they can be very influential at some point if they both learn from these mistakes and they heal because and I said the other day, maybe she's not married to the right person, but she could be married to the right person. It's just that they both have to heal from the wounds that are causing all of this. And they're pretty deep. You can tell, there's something going on. And I don't know what it is, but, that's the other beautiful thing is, maybe you're not by yourself. Maybe you have a partner. Well, come on here and share your mistakes that you guys have made together and how you've learned and grown through that. That's what I'm saying. Your content does not need to be spiritually focused. It could just be healing focused. It could just be here. We're humans who've made mistakes and this is what we've gone through. But this is and again, there's a limit to that, obviously. I obviously went through my previous relationships and the mistakes were detrimental because it was cheating and hitting me and doing things like that. Those kinds of things you got to get out of. But if it's this kind of thing where it's just wounds from being scared of this information, you can learn from that and you can work together and you can teach people how to so that's what I'm saying. There's potential there. There's potential there for teaching and learning, and that'll probably be part of her future and stuff like that. So God's setting her up, but still it's just sad to watch her go down. And I want to warn people who, again, can't see through that kind of stuff. So everybody has different purposes. Everybody's going to get to the same point. But at the same time, if they're not there yet, you got to be really discerning on who you're listening to. Genuinely, that's just all I can say.